Whoa. 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 Well, folks, it's springtime. Man, I'm starting to see some leaves popping out on some of the trees. The birds are chirping. They're starting to pair up to mate. I'm hearing turkeys gobble, even hearing some frogs in the morning. And it's a time to get out and do some fishing, especially chasing catfish like I do. But there's a few things we're going to talk about during this video for you to keep in mind, so that if you're trying to pick and choose when to go, hopefully you can pick the right day to get out there and catch some fish. Yes, guys. There he is. We are hooked up, even in the mud. Not a monster, but we'll take it. Happy to be here. Can't tell exactly what it is. Feels a little big for a channel. Swam off kind of weird, almost like a flathead. He's got a head shake like a blue. We don't know what we got. Money's on the blue. There's another rod right there. It's got my camera on it. I got one rod here. It's got my camera on it. There goes that one. Yep. Fish on that one. Look at that. Look at that one go. We got them splashing. We got rods going. See my camera shaking. Let me deal with this one. Let's see if that works. There we go. Let's get this one. Woohoo! We got some action, baby. Action Jackson. That's a decent fish. Better than I thought he was. I think all the splashing made him bite. Made the other one bite. I can't believe it. I did it again. There he is. Got him. Damn. Good fish. 14 pounds. Yes, sir. We'll take that all day long. It's a good one. Good fish, guys. We got another one up here we got to get. Got Pinky going. This one went all over the place. There we are. Boom. I'm digging this, guys. Two of them back to back. It's almost like there was a little wad of them came through there. Looks like it's around something. Maybe through another line. We'll see. Probably gonna have to go to the other side to land this one. The last time I put my camera on a rod, I got bit on it. Some of these fish won't be on TV. On YouTube. Old Pinky. I gotta tell y'all something. I did something stupid. The bad part is this is the second time I've done it. Right there is where my net's at. I left my net at home again. This is getting ridiculous. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Another nice fish. A little bit bigger. Got him. On the wad off. I left my net at home. Again. Second time. Last time that happened, what's that one gonna weigh? It's about 17. Again, another good fish. Another one. A good blue. Rock and roll, baby. Good fish. Get it back in the water. Pow, there's two fish back to back, two teeners. really at the same time, kind of in the same area. That was shallow water, guys. That was up near the bank. If you were fishing off the bank anywhere over here, you could have caught those fish. Matter of fact, you wouldn't have had to have casted far at all. Those were probably 30 feet off the bank. And they're in here, even with the muddy water and the big inflow of water. Now the lake is dropping, so we got dropping water. That's another thing to keep in mind in these flood stage conditions and stuff this spring is, you know, that water coming up is good. But when it starts dropping, that's generally when the bite can go downhill. Where I'm at, it hasn't totally started dropping a lot yet, but it's kind of crested. And but I still got two. These fish, the good thing about springtime is that these fish are starting to stage up to spawn. We got 60-degree water. It's warming up in spite of it being muddy and this cold inflow. So these fish are starting to do some staging up to spawn, starting to make some moving around. They are active. We are out of the wintertime water temperature. So even with the bad conditions, weather changes, lots of rain, it's still worth it to get out there and fish, and those two fish proved it. So got those released back in the water. Gonna sit back and see if we can pop a couple more. All right, guys, I think we got one going on this Carolina rig on the bottom. Yes, it is there. It's funny, I've got 4 baits out. A little shoulders to him. Got 4 baits out on Santee rigs, which you know I love to fish those things. And I got 2 of them out on Carolina rigs. This is the second fish on the Carolina rig. So what does that tell me? Well, it tells me I've only caught 3 fish. But anyway, some days it is the rig to have. Some days, depending on what they're feeding and how they're feeding, they are really oriented to the bottoms. Another decent fish. If he is he liftable? He's liftable. A little bit of mud action on that one. Looking up. There we go. Pretty fish. Pretty fish. Good one. Pooping out some mussel stuff. I don't have that one back in the water. Hook on that one. That was actually the big perch head. That was the actual head on that sucker. That was the big hook. Big old hook from Hooker's Terminal Tackle. Big 8/0. And that was the big perch head. So that little sucker tried to eat that. Well, the first thing, as you can tell by the way I'm dressed, it's into April, but it is still very cool on this morning. Generally, where I'm at in the south, we still get freezes up until, you know, mid-April. I know for you guys in other parts of the country, you laugh at us and go, man, we're still getting, you know, freezes in May and June. But generally speaking, mid-April, we're still getting some temperatures down below freezing. So big thing is temperature. Keep an eye on what the weather is doing. Springtime, like fall, is a time when you've got to really keep an eye on what's happening with the weather. We're going through that transition period into warmer temperatures, but we haven't totally left behind the cold temperatures, and those temperatures can have an impact on whether the bite's on fire or whether it's not. Now, if you're like me, you're going fishing no matter what. You're going whenever you can. But if you got to pick and choose your days, those days where things are trending warmer, it's going to be a little bit better for you, especially if there's a lot of sunlight. That sunlight really adds to bringing up those water temperatures, and that really helps move the fish up shallower, especially for you guys that are bank fishing. It's a lot harder on you guys to fish. You have a lot more, you have limited access to where you can go. So having, you know, some warmer water up near the bank really helps. Sunlight, big factor in that. So slightly warming trend, and look for a lot of sunlight, a lot of bluebird skies like we got today, because that will really help heat up that shallow water. Poof. Nice. Got one on my spinning rod, getting to put these ripping lips to work a little bit. Got my PC Fun. It's a Viper X reel on here. Got a bunch of videos on this one. These are these new Super Cat from Ripping Lips. Trying those out. I've been wanting a lighter weight spinning rod. This is a medium action. perfect rod for this kind of fish. It's a channel cat. Channel cat, lift him in here. Pow, there we go. Mr. Channel. We got some blues and we got a channel. We just need a flathead, don't we? Pretty fish. Pooping some stuff out. Looking like some grass or something. That. Ugh. Get him back in the water. Ah, that is. That looks like grass. Nice. Put grass on my hook for bait. Came on one of the Santee rigs. A small piece of perch on there. Let's get that back in the water. We've caught them in about every depth range now. There you go, a little fast and furious action. A couple of fish back to back there. That one came on just a medium-sized piece of bait. As I was saying, I've caught these fish in every depth range now. I've caught them up toward the bank and caught them over toward the river channel. Actually, that last blue probably came from the river channel out there in the deeper part. So they're kind of scattered. They're kind of all around. One of the cool things out here, another piece of advice for you if you're trying to get out this spring, is try to go early and try to go during the week. I'm out here during the week. I don't have a lot of boat traffic. I've seen a lot go by me. I haven't seen a lot go by me. Obviously, not everybody can do that. So, but if you can, getting out during the week. But here's what's going to happen, guys. As it gets warmer, well, people are going to start fishing. People are also going to start being out in pleasure boats. You're going to have to deal with that kind of traffic. So being out here at 12 o'clock on a Saturday when it's going to be 80 degrees, well, you're going to get aggravated. So if you can get out here early, get out here right at daylight. I know it's probably your weekend off. You don't want to get up early, but get out, do it. It will be a benefit to you, especially as boat traffic starts picking up here in the spring. It's a bigger deal for guys in the boat. For you guys that are fishing on the bank, especially if you're fishing publicly accessible areas, well, you're going to have a lot more people showing up too. So if you can get out early, especially on these warmer days on the weekends, a little piece of advice for you there, something to be aware of. It's going to make your springtime fishing a little bit more enjoyable. And usually the bite's pretty good early. A lot of times boat traffic will put a damper on the bite. Not always, but sometimes it does. So get out there early. I think you'll enjoy your time out there on the water. I swear something's swimming off with that bait. I do not think that, nope, that is not boat movement. And there it goes. There he goes, there he goes, there he goes. Got it. If I was ever gonna bank and bet on a fish being a species, I would say this is a flathead. But it feels really little. That's the bad part. A bit like a flathead, but dang, there is, oh, there he goes, there he goes. There he goes. It's like he was swimming at the boat, which that came out of the river channel. It's awake now. It's awake now. If I was ever going to bank on one being a flatty, this would be it. Boom. Take a little bit of line. I didn't see him, he came up. Oh, it's a blue, good blue, cleaner blue. Ate my big bait. Ate my big bait. Simmer, 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 simmer. Come here. I got my float twisted. Oh, there we go. There we go. Well, that's funny. I would have bet that was a flathead. Ate my big bait too. That was my good big bait. Oh yeah, little fat thing. Little fat blue cat. I can fish there. That little blue got some mud, probably becoming active. Look at that football belly. That's a nice fish. There you go, guys. That's what I was saying earlier about bigger baits. This is a good time of the year to use bigger baits. Springtime is the time I like using the bigger baits. And that one, even though it wasn't a super huge fish, it tried to eat a very large bait. And that's one of the things about spring. Another thing about spring, another tip for you guys, one of the downfalls of spring fishing and something to keep aware of is rain. Especially this year. Seems like there's a lot of rain this year. These fluctuations in water levels can be a pain in the butt, to be perfectly honest. The rising water, the inflow, it's great. Usually sparks a bite. But when you get to conditions like we're in, and that's what we're in today, is some flood stage level, conditions. As I know some of you guys in the Midwest have been in some really dangerous flood conditions. There were some people lost their lives in Nashville just recently from some flooding. That's kind of out of control, and it's not the best fishing in those conditions. That's slightly rising, great, but the big significant inflows of water can really not be good for fishing. So if you can pick and choose when you go, that initial rise right after the rain, good. Once that water gets high and starts to drop, that dropping water, generally bad fishing. So keep an eye on that this spring if you're able to pick and choose when you go. And if you can avoid that falling water and avoid the really just, flood stage, rip-roaring current, it can be tough. That sustained water flow, even through these reservoirs that are controlled by dam releases, again, when it starts, it's great, but after it's been going for a couple of days, it can mean a bad bite. Swimming off with a bait right here. This rod right here, that bait was back over this way, and it's getting swam off with. It hasn't folded the rod over yet, but I'm getting ready to pick it up. Reel the hook into its mouth. Boom, he's hooked. A lot of times, give you a little tip there. A lot of times you're better off reeling with that thing in the rod holder. Biggest thing is when you pick it up, don't let that fish feel you pick it up. I'm gonna get this around this rod. Sometimes they will drop the bait. Another decent fish. That is around. Whoa, Jack. It's a better fish, I think. Oh yeah, there we go. We need a flathead. We need a flathead to get a slam. Again, I don't have my landing net. Let's see how big this sucker is. All right, let's see if we can get this bad boy in here. See how big he is, what I'm dealing with. It's a blue. He's not super huge. All right, I feel better now. Come on. Easy. Got him. Oh, pooping the black stuff up in my boat. Very nice of him. And there. And that one on a smaller bait. About 12 pounds. Oh, he's a mess. Oh, what a mess. Pretty fish though. He's got the Duke all in the boat. All right, guys, there's fish number 6. And interesting observation, fish number 3 on the Carolina rigs. Those are the baits that are laying flat on the bottom versus the red rods that I've got out that have them on Santee rigs that are suspended a little bit off the bottom. So I've only got 2 out that are Carolina rigs. The other 4 are the Santee rigs. So little interesting observation there. Disproportionate number of the fish are on baits on the bottom. But an interesting note on that one, and something to keep in mind this spring to not do, and that is don't cast past your fish. That is another fish that's right up on the bank. Most people would be casting past that fish, and especially if you're fishing on the bank. You've heard me say it before that when you're on the bank, you just want to cast out there deeper and deeper and deeper as far as you can, and people are so focused on casting a long way. And springtime especially, if you're doing that, you can be throwing your baits past the fish a lot of times. A lot of times us guys fishing from boats in the spring are anchored up halfway close to the bank like I am. We're putting baits up there close to it. So don't throw your baits past the fish in the spring. Nothing wrong with putting some rods out deep. If you can fish multiple rods off the bank, that's great. But don't overlook that first 20 or 30 feet off the bank, because fish can be in there, especially as these water temperatures start to warm up. Bluegills start to move up, crappies start to move up. Put your baits up there. You'll definitely be throwing past fish if you're not fishing that area. So that's one of the things I'm trying to do today is, I've got water covered here, and today I've caught fish from deep to shallow. So cover some water. Don't throw your baits past them. All right, guys, I think I got one going on my ripping lips rod again. Not a monster, but we'll take it. This is the one I caught. Actually, it's the exact same rod in the same place that I caught the fish on earlier. This is kind of before it drops into the channel. This is kind of on the mid-range. So again, catching them in the river channel on the bank. And then in that mid-range, just goes to show you got to cover some water. And this one is a medium size. Yep, that's a blue. I thought it was a decent channel for a second. That is a smaller blue. Man, we are catching all different sizes today. Good eater size fish there. That one back alive. And that one came on Santee rig, back to Santee. It's kind of equal here between them. Again, this is one of the Super Cat rods from Ripping Lips. Info there, 7'6" medium action, 10 to 40 pound line, 1 to 6 ounces of weight. It's a good rod. It's these 5000 series Viper X reels that I've got are a good mid-range reel, and they pair up great with this. This thing isn't too heavy. Matter of fact, it's actually a really lightweight rod, and really happy with it. Working out good. But it's number 7 in the boat. We're catching them. Let's see if we can get that flathead to get that slam. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes with it. He's gone again. I think he may have dropped it. Nope, he's there. Same rod I had a hit on earlier that swam off with it, took it off the bank basically, and went deep. Bad part is he swam across 3 other lines, so I've got, it could be a mess out there. Decent there. Well, he's into one of them. Let's see if we can get out of that. Bang. Got that cleared. Playing. Dancing around the rods here. I think he's still in that line. That's okay. We can deal with that. Splash on the surface back there. Laying down. I'm playing these fish a little bit more because I'm having to use the bugger grip to get them in. A stupid Forgot the net again. Easy, guy. Take some line if you need to. It's a better fish. That is a better fish. Let's see if he's ready. It's another one in the teens. Come here, sucker. A little more angry. One looks like he may have been caught before. Definitely got a wound on his mouth there. It's a good fish. Another around 16 pounds. Semi. Good one. Good fish there. Nice blue. We on them. All right, guys. Another thing that may bite you in the springtime is just the weather fronts that are coming through. It's something to keep an eye on if you've got to pick and choose when you're going. Generally speaking, bluebird skies, post-frontal, it's not really the best time to be fishing. But in the springtime, that can be a little bit different, especially as fish are starting to stage up pre-spawn. Catfish become very aggressive during that time period. They feed a lot during that time period, and they seem to be, generally speaking, less effective by those fronts, especially as this water temperature start to get warmer and get up into the 60s. So pay attention to what your weather's doing in the springtime. When you get some of these warmer days, even if they're post-frontal bluebird conditions like we got today, it's still a good time to get out there and fish if you can. Nothing wrong with going when it's raining. We all know you can catch them. And that's the good thing about spring is, you know, there's very few bad times to be out in the spring. There are days you'll go and you won't catch fish, don't get me wrong. But these brighter days, a lot more sunlight, you get a lot more sunlight penetration. Water temperature starts to go up for you guys, especially the ones that are stuck along the bank. It's great for you guys because it warms up that shallow water. And not only do the catfish move into that shallow water, but they're moving up there because bluegill and crappie and everything else are going up in there. So pay attention to the weather, not just to avoid the thunderstorms, but you start looking at 2 or 3 days in a row of stuff trending up higher. It's a good time to get out on the water. Guys, I think I got one going on this black reel here, red rod. There's a fish on it. I'm gonna reel down on it. Yep, boom, there he is. Boom, there he is. Drag's good. Thought I seen it going off. Man, these fish are active today. I was just saying, normally we had a front come through last night, dumped some of this rain, had another front before that. Typically post-frontal conditions, not my favorite time to be out there. But springtime, it's worth being on the water. It's been worth it today too. I don't know if I'm just parked in a good spot, hit the right time. Whoa, 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 whoa. Got the magic bait or what? This one is either a good blue, but he made that bulldog down like a flathead. I want to get my slam. Nurse him up here. This is a bigger fish. And yes, I don't have a net. I'm gonna let him play himself. He's a better fish. We'll let him wear down a little bit. I'm gonna wish I had a net on this one. Oh, big swirl, big swirl. I didn't see what he was. If he's a flathead, I'm gonna hand grab him. If he's a blue, he's a blue. He's a blue. Ah, wish I had a net. I'm gonna get him with the boga. I think I can do it. Oh yeah, good fish. Good fish, good fish, good fish. Hey. Ah, missed him. Missed him. Got him, got him, got him, got him, got him. Oh. He's in the 20s. That's a good one. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Good fish. Good fish. Heck yeah. Nice one. It's a good one, guys. Gonna get you released alive. Great fish. Great fish. All right, guys, I've been here about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I put 10 fish in the boat. Several in the teens, one in the 20s. That's an excellent bite anywhere, anytime, any time of the year. And I've only been in one place. Now, with that said, one mistake that you can make in the spring is putting too much time in one place. Now, I'm lucky. I parked in a place and I'm catching fish. I'm getting bit. I'm putting fish in a boat. I'm putting them, well, I'm not putting them in the net today, but I'm catching fish. You know, if you're in a place like that, yeah, sit it out, ride it. You know, what have you got to lose? You're getting bit. Something's right. But if you're in a place and you're not catching fish in 30 minutes or an hour, it's time to move, especially in the spring. A lot of variables come into play on why fish are where they're at. It can be bait, water temperature, current, all those things vary. If you have the ability to move, I know it's tough for you guys bank fishing. It may be a matter of going a couple of 100 yards up the bank to a point or a steep drop, a bluff, trying that. If you're in a boat, obviously you got a lot more freedom to do what you want to. But yeah, if you're not getting bit quickly, especially in the springtime, you need to move. Now, granted, if you're out there trophy whopper hunting and you just got out a couple of big baits, you're waiting on a monster, you can sit it out and wait. Those fish don't generally come through in schools and massive packs. But if you're trying to catch fish, trying to get on something fairly consistent, a decent bite like we've had today, don't make the mistake of sitting too long in one place, especially in the springtime. Do some moving. Guys, I got another one right there swimming under the boat. That fish is taking the bait from the bank. There he goes. Boom, he's hooked. It's exactly what it did a minute ago. It took, hopefully he stays out of the anchor. It was up on the bank that way. I just looked up and noticed the line was slowly coming this way. Weird, weird, weird bite. Weird bite. Not a big fish, but a fish nonetheless. On the bank, guys. And it's what I'm telling you. If you're out here spring fishing, mistake you can make is throwing past the fish. That cast in a country mile, you don't need to do it a lot of times. Don't overthrow your fish. There you go. Ooh, I think he just grew. He may be boga grippable all of a sudden. Don't overthrow your fish. A lot of them on Carolina rigs today. I know you guys ask about rigs. Yes, I do like the Santee rig, but Carolina rig's working good today. Maybe the muddy water, those fish may be scavenging on the bottom more. Come here. Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha, you pretty little blue. Right off the bank. Eating that bait on the bank. There we go. A big one. Not a big one, but a blue. Happy to have it. I'll tell you, this has been one amazing bite today. 11 fish in 3 hours of fishing. That is a tremendous catch rate. I've been parked in one spot, and it doesn't always work that way. Most of the time you got to do some hopping, do some moving around, but been lucky to pick off a good variety of fish here, from a small channel cat up to a blue in the 20s. I feel confident that, you know, at any time a 30, 40, or 50 could pull a rod over, but it hasn't happened. But something to keep in mind, guys. Spring, don't make the mistake of sitting in one place too long. If it's working in its own, do some hopping around. And the other tips, it's just stuff to keep in mind. This is the time to be on the water. This is the time to be fishing. Everything's coming alive. Fish are active. Fish are staging up to spawn. They are spawning. Fish are feeding on spawning fish. It's the time to be out chasing catfish for sure. So get out on the water. See if you can put some fish in the boat. Put them up on the bank, and just try some stuff. That's the beautiful thing about fishing for catfish. There's no really wrong thing to do. You know, fishing under a cork, fishing on the bottom, fishing with a Santee rig, there's no magic combination. You've seen it if you've watched enough of my videos that a lot of times I catch a lot of fish on Santee rigs. Today I've caught a lot of them on the 2 rods that I've had out with Carolina rigs. So you have to play around. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. I was just talking with a buddy that is out here fishing today. He's caught 1 fish. You know, it's one of them situations where he may be in the wrong spot. He may move a few hundred yards and it blow up on him. So if you can make the moves, move around, try some different stuff. The fish, if you've got them in the area where you're at, this is the time of the year they really start to bite and feed consistently. And it's a good time to try some different stuff, especially when you get on these feeding patterns where fish are halfway active. Try some different baits, try some different rigs, experiment. It's better to experiment when you're catching fish than when you're not catching fish, because if you're not catching fish and you experiment with something, you really don't know if it's working, not working, or if it's just the fish aren't biting. So get out this spring, catch some fish, and we'll catch you out on the water. Well, folks, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Here are a couple more videos that I think you're gonna like. I'd watch that one and then that one. No, do that one first and then that one. I don't know, just watch them both. They're both good.